how the narcissist arrogance leads to their own demise, their own downfall. We often talk about the narcissist arrogance on this channel. Narcissists are very arrogant. They have an exaggerated sense of their own abilities and abundance. They think they're so much greater than what they actually are. They think they're up here when really they're down there. And I'm sure many of you have experienced this. You have dealt with it. And I've dealt with it myself. And I would like to share my own personal experience with that in this video. Because as the title says, their arrogance does eventually, they end up shooting themselves in the foot. They end up cutting off their nose to spite their face. And right now, though, as many of you know, I am a YouTuber, and I was seeing someone not too long ago. I'm seeing someone now as well, after some time now passed. But yes, I was involved with a woman not too long ago, and yeah, I took good care of her. As many of you know, I am an empathetic person. I consider myself to be an empath. I like to build people up. I like to improve their lives, make them happier. I like to do that. And it makes me feel good as well. So I was taking this girl on trips around the world. And yeah, we were staying at 5-star hotels, brand new 3-bedroom villas, luxury high-rise apartments, all of that stuff. I was taking her to fine dining restaurants and buying her designer clothes, dresses, everything. So I'm not saying this to brag. I mean, I'm sure many of you have done the same thing for the people that you love. And yeah, I mean, she had a pretty good life, especially considering that this is someone who came from a very small village with not much money, not many opportunities in life. And of course, I can see that to cross paths with someone like me, someone who could do all of these things for her and give her a better life. But as time went by, it's like as you build them up, they start to think they're better than you because you're putting all of this into them and making them a person. It makes them feel superior. And because of their arrogance, they start to think that they can do better than you. They start to think the grass is greener on the other side. Going on Instagram, they're going on Facebook, they're looking at other people's lives, and they're comparing their situation. They're looking for the bigger, better deal. the next shiny new toy, and yeah, sometimes they may think they found it, but then they end up getting scammed. They end up being tricked. Because it is quite rare. I mean, what makes someone think that they're so special that someone would even go out of their way to take them on trips around the world, put them in? What would make someone believe that they even deserve that? I mean, yeah, but it's their arrogance that really leads to their start to think that they can do better. When the very person fixed all of their problems, made everything right for them, they think that they can move on and do better than you. And this is the mentality that they carry with them throughout their lives. They always think that they can do better. But then we have to remember that they are delusional too. So many of them will move on to a situation with someone with no motivation, no drive, no job, no car, no home. And they will actually think in their minds that they are doing better. I mean, some of them, they could be working at McDonald's and they will be bragging and boasting about it as though it's something to be proud of. Because you have to remember that these people are self-absorbed and they lack empathy. They can't put themselves in your shoes. They can't even understand the value of going to the table. They're emotionally stunted at the development of a 2-year-old child. And if I take out $100 right now and I give it to a 2-year-old child, what do you think they would do with it? Would they put it in their piggy bank? Would they take care of it? No, of course not. Because their brains are not developed to the level where they're able to understand the value of something. That's why you give them toys and they're just gonna break it. Because they can't understand the value. I mean, yes, something may look shiny and new to them. It may stand out from the other toys. But once they get a hold of it, they're just going to destroy it. Because they don't understand. And it's the same thing with a narcissist. This is why they didn't understand you. This is why it was so easy for them to get rid of you. A narcissist could have a lottery ticket in their hands and just throw it in the trash because they're so arrogant and delusional. They're so wrapped up in this grandiose fantasy in their heads, and they're just not grounded in reality. They think everything's just so it's like this godlike mentality where they can do, achieve, and obtain anything they want. So of course, it's nothing for them to get rid of you. Doesn't matter who you are. I mean, I've had clients that I've coached, you wouldn't believe it. Some of the people that have been thrown away by losers, by narcissists who have no job, no home, just no life at all. And yet they've gone and used up and thrown away people that I've coached, people who are doctors, lawyers, and even movie directors, celebrities that I have coached. And yeah, they've told me about how they've just been discarded by a narcissist, just thrown away like they're garbage. I mean, that's just it, isn't it? I mean, you could be the CEO of a company. You could be the boss. And when you're at your job, you're telling people what they need to do. You're giving them instructions. You're giving them commands. You're in control. You have the power. But then when you come back home to the narcissist, you feel like you have no power at all. And we're seeing that. I mean, just look at the thing with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Johnny Depp is a world famous A-list celebrity. But I bet he never felt like that around her. He probably felt like a nobody, like he was garbage. And that's because of their brains. These people are on the spectrum to psychosis. So of course you're not going to feel valued when you're around them. You're going to feel like a piece of shit. Because they can only see a reflection of themselves in you anyway. They see you as an extension of them. But they don't want to accept what they are. And how they never took the time to work on themselves or to become anything. All they've really done is just point the finger and criticize you for the work that you're putting in. And they depend on you to help them and improve their lives. And then when you do that, by the end of it, they're just going to hate and resent you for that anyway. Because deep down they know they don't deserve it. When you know you deserve something, you're going to be grateful, you're going to say thank you. And you're going to want to do something for that person in return. When you know that you deserve something. But when you know that you don't deserve it, especially for a narcissist, you're going to turn against that person. You're going to try to bring them down. And that's exactly what they do to you. That's exactly it. But yeah, I really want to put this in perspective for you, just so all of you can understand, is that don't even worry about the narcissist perspective of you. That's just completely irrelevant. I mean, you may look at yourself and think that maybe you weren't good enough. Just remember me. Remember my situation. I had a girl I was taking on trips around the world. Everything. Taking her to 5-star hotels, brand new villas, luxury high-rise apartments, fine dining restaurants, designer clothes. Around in Mercedes, Porsche, BMWs, everything. And as I've said, I've coached people who are doctors, lawyers, Hollywood movie directors, celebrities, people from all walks of life. They've all had the same experience. So who's the common denominator in all of that? If there's people from all walks of life who all experience the same thing with these types of people, and they're made to feel like they're not anything, that should tell you everything you need to know. Thank you for the donation, Jules C. I appreciate it. And yes, there will be more Ben's videos very soon. But yeah, you know, upset you, when they have this arrogance, I mean, you've just dedicated all of your time to this person in trying to make their life better. And yet they have the arrogance to turn around and act like what you're doing isn't enough. Well, what did they ever do for you? How did they make your life better? Or did you find that you lost everything and they never took responsibility for that? Instead, they just got up and ghosted you, moved on to someone else. These people act so self-righteous, but it's really just a cover-up for how insecure and worthless they really know that they are. But you'll be glad to know that eventually their arrogance does lead to their own demise. And whatever experience of regret that they're able to feel, they will feel that. When they leave, when they go on and they ghost you and they see that things are getting better for you. Because here's the thing, it's, they can't recognize desiring to be with them. But when they see you from far away, they're looking at you from a distance, from the outside, and they're not a part of it. Yes, they see that then. They recognize the value then. That's why they're always on social media, looking at other people's situations, the bigger, better deal, the next shiny new toy. They're always looking at that. Because that's when they can see the value, is when they're not a part of it. Because they look at it like, if you want to be with me, if you want to spend time with me, you want to be around me, you can't be that great. Something must be wrong with you. Because remember, their arrogance and entitlement is just a disguise for how really insecure they are. They have very low self-esteem. They lack self-love. They're shame-based. So yeah, of course, when you do move on, especially if you become even greater, they do start to realize what they've lost. And that's why they move you. They may try to get back in. But you should already know what will happen if you do let them back. They're just going to take you for granted again. And I mean, how could you let them back in anyway? If they've moved on, they've gone on else, and they've engaged in some form of sexual activity, they're dirty. They're disgusting. They're garbage, and you shouldn't want no part of that. After someone has been involved with them in that way, they should have no value to you whatsoever. I mean, why would you want that? Why would you want someone else's leftovers? That's not going to be any good to you. So yeah. And that's just another part of it, isn't it? I mean, that's another part of how their arrogance leads to their demise. Because they have the arrogance to think that they can go off somewhere else and fool around and, you know, who knows what they think they can go off and do that and then come back to you. And you'll just be sitting at home, waiting, begging for them to come back. That's actually how they think. They really think that they can go off and do whatever they want, and you're going to be patiently waiting for them. And I really hope that they're wrong. I hope you're not sitting around waiting for them to come back after they're out there and you don't even know what they're doing, who they're with. I mean, how much does it take? How much disrespect do you have to receive until you finally say enough is enough? You're gonna let them go out there and you haven't heard from them or what? So you've had some food delivered to your home and for whatever reason, maybe they left the food outside. They left it outside your door and you didn't know it was there. And what, let's say you find the food 1 hour later, 2 hours, 1 day, 2 days. Are you still gonna eat it then? You don't know where it's been. You don't know who's touched it. It's just been there. It's not fresh anymore. That's how you gotta look at it. You don't know where they've been. They're not fresh anymore. So they're no good to you. They're just gonna make you sick. Thanks for the donation, Alexander. I appreciate it. Yeah, that's no good to you, have that. I mean, you know, even if they haven't gone and cheated or they have, doesn't matter. Because if you haven't seen, you already know what they're doing. Even if they haven't had sex, you know they've been flirting with other people. It's that emotional cheating. They've been investing their emotions into someone else. And yeah, it's just not going to be the same after them. There's just no way that it could ever be the same. So that's how their arrogance leads to their own demise, because by doing that, they just become useless to you, worthless. I mean, when they were with you and for whatever amount of time they managed to be loyal and devoted to you, they had a lot of value then. They had a lot of worth. You know, the number one thing for me of what makes someone valuable is their ability to be loyal. If they can be loyal to me, they are very valuable. But the moment that they betray me, then they have no value at all. Then I just look at them like garbage. They're just nothing. The trust is gone. And it takes a long time to build trust. But in a moment, that trust can be broken. And you may never get it back. After their arrogance has gone and led to their demise, and you know they've made a choice to jump ship, swim in the sea, and if you go out there and you try to rescue them again, you will be disrespecting yourself. They've already disrespected you. But if you give them another chance, you are disrespecting yourself. And that's why it's time to start practicing self-love. Raising our self-esteem. They target our self-esteem because then they know that we're going to want to keep them around. So something to keep in mind is that when you do practice self-love and you focus on raising your self-esteem, when you do that, it acts as a barrier to the narcissist. It protects you from them. They control you when you have that. It's much easier to control someone who lacks confidence in themselves and their own abilities. And that is why the last thing they want is for you to have confidence in yourself. It's very difficult for them to control someone. And that's why they move on and they try to make you jealous about some new situation that they're in after they've just torn down your self-esteem, because they know it's going to make it so much easier for them to come back. That's why it's so important for you to realize your worth. Love yourself. But yeah. In a way, narcissists could find the perfect person. They could find someone who they think is everything they want. They could have the perfect job, the perfect looks, the perfect body, perfect everything. And after some time, they would throw it away and look for something else. So don't ever think that what you do is enough. It's not about that. They experience conflict with everyone. They are the common denominator in every situation. So don't blame yourself. At everything you were doing for them, remember everything you did, all of the work you put in, all of the time, energy, and money that you invested, which you could have invested into something else. Remember everything you gave to them. And if someone can't appreciate that, does that mean there's something wrong with you for trying to help them? No. That means there's something wrong with them. They have an inability to receive it, to appreciate it. And that's what you need to understand. It doesn't matter if I have a cup right here on the table and there's a hole at the bottom and I keep pouring into it because I'm trying to take a sip out of it. Doesn't matter how much I pour into that cup if there's a leak at the bottom. It doesn't matter because it's going to keep pouring out. It's never going to be full. And it is the same thing with a narcissist. You can pour into them as much as they want, as much as you want. But it's not going to make a difference because they have a hole within them. They have a void. And that is a void that can never be filled. It doesn't matter what you do for them. They're always going to be that way. They're always going to lack self-love. They're always going to be shame-based. And so they're going to react in ways that are shame-based. They're going to attack you. They're not going to self-loathe. That's why they can move on and they don't give a shit about you. Not if we're talking about love. There's no sentimental value. I mean, a normal person, and this is lack of love, not just a lack of self-love, but a lack of love for other people. Because for us, when it ends, we're heartbroken. We feel it in our hearts. I felt it myself many times. And it's not a nice feeling. Brings you down. It's like all you can think about is them and what they did to you. And you think to yourself and wonder, how can someone do that? Well, anything for you. How can someone do that? Because you look at yourself and you know that you could never do that. So how can they do it? But that's just it. It's like they have no heart. They could never connect to you because they're self-absorbed and they lack empathy. Everything revolves around them and the image that they're portraying to the world. And if you do anything to come between them and their false image, you're as good as dead to them at that point. You're of no use to them because the only thing they really have is that image anyway. So you do anything to confront it, you do anything to taint it, and they're just gonna get rid of you. They're not gonna want anything to do with you after that point. And they are going to show their arrogance to you of how they're so much better than what you now think they are. And that arrogance is what then leads to their demise. Every time. Brings them right down. But you won't always hear from them. They won't always come back to you. Because of course it must be embarrassing if you've gone about you can move on and do better this situation. I mean, that's got to be pretty embarrassing if that happens to you. So of course they're going to stay away. They're not going to come back just so you can laugh at them. Just so you can make a joke of said all of these things that they can do so much better, and then they're crawling back to you. Narcissists are so full of pride and ego. They're not going to put themselves in a position to be humiliated, to be rejected. They're not going to take that risk. They have to feel like they're better than you at all costs. And if the only way they can do that is by staying far away from you, then that's what they're gonna do. I think that's it for today. Gone pretty deep into it. 36 minutes. And yeah, this is the message for the day. How the narcissist, arrogance, leads to their demise. Their own feelings of superiority, their egos just end up killing them in the end. City view from the 20th floor. I would show Nala, but I think she is hiding, sleeping somewhere. So I'll show her in the next one. Please hit that thumbs up button. Let's get this message out there so it can help other people as well. Anyway, thank you all for joining me, and you have